All right, welcome back to another episode of the TBYL podcast. It's been a little bit, had some crazy stuff happen, crazy time of year, but we are going to do everything we can to keep these coming out. So,
Hi, guys.
doing something a little bit different today.
Yep. What is that? I don't know.
So we thought we'd have some fun and count down make a tier list of our favorite Christmas movies. And some of these, I'm sure I've seen a lot more movies than Liz has.
Yes.
So some of these Liz may not have seen, and we're going to have to take my word for it, as scary as that is, where this movie would belong.
Yeah, because I looked at the list earlier today, and I think I actually have seen at least parts of all of these.
That's good.
I know there's a couple that I definitely have not seen all the way through, but I think I have at least seen parts of all of them.
All right, so why don't we just ping pong these? So I will start. All right, I know you've seen this one. It's one of my favorites, A Christmas Story. So I got a little synopsis of each of these. This movie is a nostalgic dive into Christmas of the 1940s. It follows Ralphie, a boy who wants nothing more than a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. Along the way, we see hilarious moments like the tongue stuck to the flagpole scene, the chaotic visit to Santa, and of course, the unforgettable leg lamp. So,
I feel like every parent can somewhat relate to that chaotic visit to Santa. It's, of course, slightly over the top, but in the middle of all the Christmas craziness, that's kind of like that over the top is what it feels like, even if it's slightly exaggerated for the movie. I think that's like people can kind of relate to that, just the completely chaotic, like, next kid, move it and get out of here. You know?
well, like the reason I like this movie so much is because TNT used to play it on loop from like I think it may have started, or maybe they did it 2 days. Maybe they did it like Thanksgiving and Christmas, or they played it periodically between the two. But I just remember every time I would scroll through and there's TNT, this movie would be playing during the holidays. So the sequel was pretty good too. I like the sequel. Time frames off because here it says it's supposed to be Christmas in the 40s, and the new one is modern. Like it wasn't that long ago, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. So like they modernized it, but if you do the math, they'd all be much older than they were in the newer version. But it was still entertaining. It was much better than I thought it would be.
It was surprisingly decent, entertaining. And entertaining. Yeah.
So I like movies, so I don't want to go too crazy and like make everything. Oh, this is. They're all going to be like S tier.
All the best.
But I mean, for me, this clearly is like an S tier. Like it epitomizes Christmas for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that can relate to the wanting something so badly that with the Red Ryder BB gun. I mean, it was like all he could think about for however long before Christmas. And like everything he did was with the idea of like trying to get this BB gun. And I think every kid at some point in their life has felt that way about something they wanted for Christmas.
So, all right. So S tier. You want to hop into the next one?
All right. Let's see here. Well, we have these in a order on our paper. Where are we going? We're just going straight through.
Yeah, I go straight through.
All right. So next up is A Charlie Brown Christmas, and sweet little Charlie Brown. He's so been around for so long, and I think a lot of people have a lot of love and nostalgia for the Peanuts cast in general, but particularly Charlie Brown and Snoopy, of course. Charlie Brown struggles to find the true meaning of Christmas amidst all the commercialism. With help from Linus and his scraggly little Christmas tree, he discovers that Christmas is about more than material things. I feel like that, I don't know when a Charlie Brown Christmas was made.
I think it was
a long time ago.
I don't know.
60s, maybe?
I was going to say early 60s.
I believe. And I feel like that struggle to find some meaning or something more than just like materialism and commercial Christmas crap has only gotten even more so since since it was made.
1965.
Yeah. But like I said, I think that struggle for finding something more to Christmas and more to the holidays than just a bunch of commercial crap is like, I think even hasn't lessened. I think it's even more now than back then. Or, I mean, maybe it's just my perspective as an adult changing, but
I think all the Charlie Brown movies are good. Like not all of them. All the classics, like the Thanksgiving, the Great Pumpkin, the Charlie Brown Christmas. I think the soundtrack is epic, so I'm a big fan of the soundtrack.
Vince Guaraldi trio, awesome jazz kind of style soundtrack to it. Like all the pieces are great, really cool jazz solos, and it's kind of interesting that they chose that music for. I mean, I assume this is a kids movie.
Yeah,
I don't.
Maybe
I
like
don't
young
think,
adults. I know adults like it nowadays.
Right,
I don't know if it's because.
I don't know that it was. If it was. I don't think it was necessarily made for adults when it was made. But,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But yeah, interesting that he used jazz for the soundtrack. But again, it was the
like
60s.
Hey Arnold too, though. Hey Arnold was all jazz.
True, but jazz was really big in the 60s, so that's probably part of it as well.
All right, where do you want to put it?
I'm definitely putting this S tier.
S tier. All right.
Are we going to end up with any that aren't?
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm not going to change how I would vote, though, just because. So, okay, Die Hard. It is a movie that takes place during Christmas that has some Christmas themes, but it's not like the wholesome family Christmas movie like the other ones you've been seeing. That being said, it is a top-tier action movie that takes place during Christmas. I get it. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I like it. It's an awesome movie, and I like to celebrate it as well. But if we're being realistic, it's Christmas is the setting. It's not actually like.
Yeah, it's the setting, not a key pivotal piece to it be in the.
That's the whole reason
like
he's
in the
there,
story,
though. So it's a
like,
pivotal plot point.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but it could be any type of get together.
Yeah, if you
right?
swap Christmas out with something else or another holiday or a graduation
like
or
a retirement
event,
party, a
something.
promotion party, or I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen all of it. So.
Solid movie though. I like it. I like. It was the best of the Die Hards. They got kind of wonky there at the end. I mean, classic one-liners in it.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I mean, it's a solid movie, right? I think we can go. Oh, here, let me do this first. Synopsis: NYPD officer John McCain takes on terrorists at his wife's office Christmas party. Explosions, action, and sarcastic one-liners make this a holiday favorite. So, I mean, even I think I got this from ChatGPT is considering Die Hard a holiday favorite. So, B tier. You'd probably put it C or D.
I'm not big on action movies, but like I know
It's a classic.
people that like it love it. Yeah, I would agree. Probably B. That seems fair. Next one is Elf. So Buddy, a human raised by elves, ventures to New York City to meet his biological father and spread Christmas cheer. But I think this is like so sweet and so charming. I really love Elf. I assume you've watched it.
Yeah, I've seen
okay.
it quite a few times.
Ava and I watched it again recently,
James
just a few nights ago, and yeah, there's a lot of greats in this movie. I mean, Will Ferrell, of course, is like comedic gold. Like he is. Not all of his movies are this sweet kind of innocent comedy, but he does it really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's James Caan and
Is it
I think
Zooey
it's-
Deschanel?
yes, yeah. I think Bob Newhart, I think, is Papa Elf. I think that's who it is.
I think so.
And I mean, one of like comedy greats, like early on, like early in like sitcom history. And now, oh no, I just forgot his name. Santa. Another of the like really great
I should know.
comic, players in, early sitcoms. He was the boss in Mary Tyler Moore. Like, why do I know that? And I can't remember his name.
It is a good movie though. It's
But I mean, it's like
classic Christmas movie.
The music and the twinkly light visuals and
Bob Newhart is Papa Elf. Edward Anzer is Santa.
I'm a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
Ed
Or
Asner.
Asner. Oh,
Ed Asner.
how did I miss that? I'm telling you, I need glasses. My eyes are getting
I think
bad.
so, actually. But yeah, he's been around forever and is great in comedy sitcoms. And just like the holidays in Central Park, and all the holiday windows in the department stores, and all of it just comes together, and it's so charming and so sweet, and so like just Christmas in one big package.
So hear me out on this one. I would say Elf is A tier, simply because it's quickly becoming a classic. It's been out for a while, but it hasn't held up to the extent that both the other movies were over 30 years old. The ones we have in S tier, A Christmas Story and A Charlie Brown Christmas. And I think Elf can earn its place there. I just don't know if it has or not
A lot
yet.
more than 30 years old.
Oh yeah, well for Charlie Brown, when did A Christmas Story come out? It was early 80s, right? So he over like 40 years old?
So yeah.
Let me see. I hate guessing when we just can find out, but it also is awkward. Christmas Story.
I mean, A tier.
1983, so I guess 41 years for A Christmas Story. I mean, and when Elf is fairly new, right? Like 20 years, maybe. Has it been 20 years? 2003, 21 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting there. I could see an argument for S tier, but I think based on the list and the way it's looking right now, I would say Elf is a solid A tier.
Fair enough. I mean, I realize part of it is my just personal preference for the sweet kind of comedy in it. I just gravitate to that. So part of it is my personal preference for it, as opposed to whether it's like truly S tier or whether it's A tier.
All right. So moving on. So I've picked some of my favorites. Like if you look up lists, there's probably going to be movies on this list that aren't going to be on other lists. Like just ones that I enjoy or like made me laugh. Or there's a couple in here. So Four Christmases. I did not think I was going to like it when I watched it, and I wound up laughing out loud like, I don't know, 8 or 9 times. It's pretty hilarious. Like great cast, great premise. Like it's heartfelt at the end. A couple is forced to visit all 4 of their divorced parents on Christmas Day, leading to a hilarious and awkward family dynamic. So yeah, they're popping around. I don't want to give too much away, but they're single. They're no kids. Couple. Are they married? So they're a couple without kids that every year on Christmas they bail on their families and go on to vacation to like Hawaii or the Caribbean
Mexico
or whatever.
or someplace.
Yeah. They get caught and wind up having to make the rounds to their both their parents are divorced, and they make it to all 4 of the houses in one day, and then hilarity ensues.
I'm not in general a huge fan of, well, actually Reese Witherspoon or Vince Vaughn, but they play off of each other really well.
Yeah, they did. They you could tell there was like acting chemistry. Like they were able to get each other into the role really well. And some of the people that are in it, what's his name that directs all those Marvel movies? From Swingers.
Man.
I got it. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing here. It is Robert Duvall's in it, Sissy Spacek's in it, John
right.
Voight's in it, John Favreau, Dwight Yoakam, Tim McGraw. I mean,
That's right.
On top of Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon heading it up. It's a really fun. I like it a lot. That being said, looking at just kind of things to share, I put it on par with like a Die Hard.
Yeah.
Like it's one that I'm not gonna like. I gotta watch this movie this Christmas. But if I'm flipping through the channels and it's on, I know it's good for a few laughs, and
Right.
it's solid acting and just a solid movie.
Yeah, agreed.
B tier?
So, yep.
All right.
Well, one of the, I think, now iconic holiday movies. It's one of those that you have to watch with your kids. Is Home Alone. And Kevin McAllister, left behind when his family goes on vacation, defends his house from two bumbling burglars using creative traps. Which, granted, nowadays this would never happen. At the time, honestly, it probably wouldn't happen either. But nowadays, it'd be like, "Hey, Mom, I'm still at home." And then Mom coming back with, "Oh, sorry, Kevin,
Yeah, cell phones
come
destroy the whole plot.
right back and get you." But just the like comedy of errors that leads up to him being left at home, and then his creativity and kind of like just his like watching him go, like being like all excited being alone and then really missing his
Hits
family and missing them, and but just all around fun. Now I think classic holiday movie.
I'm kind of torn. So I would actually really put this between A and S. Like I could see an argument for both. But I guess, we could do it. Sorry.
I would put it probably A because it's great. It's classic. It's so fun. But to me, it doesn't have quite the not quite as heartfelt, charming lessons, I guess, as the Charlie Brown Christmas.
I agree with that. So I did. Do I have them both on here?
Yep.
Cool. So I did both Grinch movies. We're gonna start with the Jim Carrey Grinch. I thought it was okay. Like, I don't like when there's no reason to remake a movie. That being said, like as far as remakes go, like you can't pick a better Grinch. Like Jim Carrey's phenomenal, even though I don't like a lot of the things he does outside of his acting. That being said, I mean he's the perfect person to play the Grinch, and I thought it was a solid movie. If I was going to watch a Grinch, I would not watch the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch, but it was worth a watch the one time.
I don't love it. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I remember like kind of actively not liking it, partly because I am so attached to the Dr. Seuss classic 1966. I think that's what you put on here.
Yeah. 64 or something. I don't know.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And so I really love the old one. I do not love the Jim Carrey one. But
So interesting here. Jim Carrey plays the Grinch in this live-action adaptation of Dr. Seuss's classic story about redemption and the true spirit of Christmas. Carrey's makeup took 8 hours a day to apply, requiring him to have CIA-level training to endure it. I mean, it's dedication. I mean, he's a good actor. Like I said, you couldn't pick someone better to do it.
Fair enough.
That being said, I agree. I honestly would probably put this at D tier.
How dare you!
As in, I saw it one time and I don't ever feel the need to watch it again. But I respect, what Jim Carrey did with the role. So I mean,
Fair.
It's not a bad movie. It's just can't stand up to the original, and I have no reason to ever watch it after I saw it the first time.
yeah,
agree?
I agree.
All right.
Fair enough. The next one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the classic one from 1966. So it says, this animated classic tells the story of the Grinch's transformation from a Christmas-hating recluse to a holiday hero. I think Boris Karloff, who is the one who narrated and did the voice of the Grinch, is like the perfect voice for it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a better voice for the Grinch than that. I think it's so good. But I've been seeing that meme on Facebook, like floating around about like even the Grinch had a dog. So if you don't like dogs, you need to check yourself.
true.
It was kind of funny. But I mean, like I think most people know the story, have seen it. The kind of switch from realizing it's kind of that same theme, I guess, of finding more meaning to a holiday than the stuff.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was all about the stuff, and it turned out that, I mean, people were still celebrating and happy and joyful even when all the stuff was gone. Yeah. So
no, it's a classic for a reason. And that's why you don't do remakes, because the Jim Carrey Grinch movie would have been like a much higher tier if you weren't comparing it directly to the classic Grinch movie. So like when you have a beloved property like that, you're usually skating uphill if you're trying to like make a remake.
Start messing with something that people are so attached to.
It's like the new Lincoln Park. You're comparing it to the original, and it might be good on its own if it was a different band with different songs, but when you're laying it over top, you're like, this doesn't fit right.
Right.
Okay, so clearly, I mean, do you in agreement it's S tier?
It's S, yeah.
All right. Let's put it right up there next to Christmas Story and Charlie Brown. So this is another one, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I watched it when I was like younger, like a young adult, and I moved out of state for a while, and I was like away from my family on Christmas for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So it could be something to do with just nostalgia on my part, but I'll be home for Christmas with Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Good old JTT.
Yeah. It's like a charming movie. Like I liked it, and it's the same kind of lesson. It's essentially like the same story of you're kind of callous and don't understand the importance of Christmas to other people in your lives, or what it means to like be home around your friends and family, and you kind of learn along the journey you take to accomplish whatever needs to be accomplished in the movie. I just thought this one was pretty good. It's pretty funny. Like I laughed out loud a few times. It's heartwarming and all that. But let's go. Synopsis. JTT stars as a college student trying to make it home for Christmas to win a classic car promised by his dad. This is one of his last big roles before he stepped away from acting. And they filmed it in the desert in California in the summertime.
Oof, sounds rough.
So
yeah. I'll date myself a little bit here, but I remember being a very young, preteen and very early teenager, and several of my friends having huge crushes on JTT, as they called him. So that nice informal, like they're close to him or something. But
do you ever see
was
this?
pretty cute. I think so. I think you watched it one time when I was also home, and I happened to see most of it. But it's sweet, it's charming. Some funny moments in there for sure.
I mean, I kind of agree. So when I was printing these out, I asked ChatGPT to rate them as well, and I kind of agree with exactly what it says. C tier, nostalgic but not essential.
Yeah,
So,
fair.
like, it's if you're our age, or even a little bit younger than us, then this would be one of those movies that you would have seen. I'm like, oh, I remember that. And all right, so we'll go see with it.
Yeah. Cute, fun, nostalgic, but not one of the essentials. Have to watch it, or share it with your kids. Kind of movies necessarily.
I think there's probably some of these coming up we're going to disagree on. Go ahead.
Next up is the Muppet Christmas Carol. There are tons of versions of the Christmas Carol out there, but I am particularly partial to the Muppets. Just the like zany antics of the Muppets I've always just thought were really cute and funny. One of our like family things that we did when I was a kid was Saturday evening, we all would like take our baths before, getting ready for bed, and then we'd have like popcorn and watch the Muppet Show back in the day. And so I think I'll have always been partial to the Muppets since then. But
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I guess people kind of know the story of the Christmas Carol, but it's the story of Scrooge and the three spirits of Christmas, past, present, and future, visiting him and the lessons that he learns.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really got into the Christmas Carol, the story initially. I appreciate the Muppets. Like, I think Jim Henson was a genius, and he kind of, without him, we wouldn't even have the Ninja Turtles movie. I think he had a hand in that, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was it Creature Workshop or whatever?
I think so.
Yeah, whatever the name of his company was. I probably butchered that. But that being said, like, I liked Muppet Babies when I was a kid. I never got into the Muppets. But when I was a little kid, I used to watch the Muppet Babies all the time. And I got into like that version of the Muppets. And like McDonald's had the Muppets toys and stuff you can get. They had like essentially plushies, they call them nowadays, but like stuffed animals from the Muppets. I appreciate it, and I recognize that people probably like it. And I know it's a classic story. My initial thought is A tier. I don't know how you feel about A tier.
I mean, honestly, if I'm totally objective, it might almost be B tier, but I love it so much. I have a hard time giving it a B, or B tier. So I would vote for it probably A.
Yeah, I think so as well. It is a classic, and it's almost one of those universally recognized classics. I just don't know if it's that or not yet.
Well, and with often as we see in any of the Muppet productions, there's a lot of innocent, like kind of kid-ish humor, but then some like sly little things in there that are more clever or more subtle, and I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, the Muppets were initially made for adults, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, moving right along. Got 5 more?
Yep.
The Polar Express. I went and saw this in the theater when it came out. I think it's a rock solid Christmas movie. Here, let me read the synopsis first before I give my take on it. A young boy takes a magical train ride to the North Pole, discovering the meaning of Christmas along the way. It was one of the first to use full motion capturing technology for animation. Tom Hanks is all over this thing. Mm-hmm. The thing that gets me about this movie is it's like right up to the uncanny valley, almost so much that it kind of takes me out of it. Like, it looks realistic, but not quite right.
Yeah.
It almost served you to watch it on like 1080p instead of 4K. It's like, it would almost make it a little bit better. Like, I understand that it was a revolutionary like form of animation when it came out, and I mean, Tom Hanks is awesome. And it was worth watching. It's one of the ones that if it's on, I might watch it for like 5 minutes just because like, I remember seeing that in theater. That was awesome. But it's not like a Christmas classic to me, or just about anybody I know doesn't really. I guess the name, everyone knows what you're talking about when you say the Polar Express.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it's one of those that's great to watch one time, but it's not one that I feel drawn to go back and watch again and again.
It's not like an essential movie to watch at Christmas time. What do you think?
I mean,
D
I'd say.
tier?
I was thinking like B or C.
Oh. Well, why don't
I'm
we?
a little more generous,
So why don't
I guess,
we
but,
split
I'd say
the difference?
probably
Let's
like
go C. Let's
C.
go to, because if you were thinking even B.
Because I do think that it's beautiful.
It is.
And the story is kind of neat. But again, it's one that I don't feel drawn to keep watching it over and over like every year. But I did enjoy watching it the first time I did.
Next up
is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1964. Funny how many of these were from the 60s.
Well, so I think a lot of that, because Rudolph was made by a company as a way to sell Christmas merch. So I think in the 60s there was a big like advertising boom.
Yeah.
With TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of like the commercialization of Christmas. Like, say what you want about it. It imprinted on us, the commercialization of Christmas did, like significantly as kids. And, the kids of the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, good or bad, it kind of shaped like the Coca-Cola polar bears.
Polar
you know what I
bears,
mean?
yeah. Yep.
So think of it what you will. It's just kind of a fact that happened. So without getting
Yeah.
off on a tangent on that, that's why a lot of these are from that era, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? This is known as a certain Rudolph, like the company that made it. I was watching the making of Elf, and they were talking about they wanted to use a lot of the stuff that do things the way they did in the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but they called it something. If you know what it is, say it down in the comments. Like the look, they called it like a specific look. I don't know. I might cut that out. We'll see.
I don't know.
You got to find the DVD making of Elf where they're talking about it. But yeah, I think it's a classic. And is it Yukon Cornelius in that? The Island of Misfit Toys?
I think
I haven't watched it in so long.
It's
I can't
been a
remember.
long time, yeah.
Well, and I know
can't
there was a
remember
couple.
that's-
There's like a sequel and
a couple of the
there's-
different like stop motion movies made close. I mean, kind of close to the same time that that same era. But
Well, and I would kind of like. I only included one of those types of movies on the list, but you have like Frosty the Snowman, which is also. I think they're all S tier, just because they're like
have been
synonymous
around
with
and
Christmas.
been loved so much for so long.
And they're influencing other movies of the genre. So I think that just like, even though I haven't seen it long enough to really remember exactly what the pace in it, like, I think it's still like, it's Christmas.
Right. Yeah. One of those like must watch at least sometime as a family. I think like at some point everybody needs to see Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should really honestly be watching it like every year. It might be one of the ones that we have to watch with
Add to
Ava.
the list.
Yeah. I have a few.
Right. Well, or maybe we alternate through some of them, like keep our little movie tier list here on the top couple tiers. We just work through each.
Hey, we've got a
Years.
couple down there now. Yeah, Rudolph classic, like can't beat it. Makes me realize that I need to watch it again. What do we got next?
Christmas Chronicles.
So yeah, Christmas Chronicles. All right, let me just get into the synopsis here. Kurt Russell stars as a cool Santa Claus who teams up with two kids to save Christmas. He did all of his own singing in it. It was produced by Chris Columbus, who also directed Home Alone.
That kind of makes sense. I didn't know that before, but that kind of, I mean, just the style of the movie and the story kind of makes sense.
I love this movie. Since it's come out, I've watched it every year. The
I really
sequels
like
were
it too,
okay.
actually.
Like they're good and they're worth watching. But I mean, the original it's
Definitely the best
hits
one.
all the paces you need for a Christmas movie. Kurt Russell's awesome. Like
Great
couldn't have got a
music.
better Santa.
Great visuals, fun storyline. A bit different, a different story than all the like the same kind of like. It's easy to get into a rut, I guess, with especially Christmas style movies.
There's reoccurring themes, but they approach them
sure.
from different angles.
Fair enough, yeah.
No, I would say this is between B and A tier, and if it stands the test of time, I could see it moving up between like A and S. Just this is our list, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I would put it as an A.
Yeah, I think
because
A is
I
good.
really like this movie, and I find it amusing with the Kurt Russell, kind of like his getting put out with the fat Santa
that's
deal, and
pretty
he like works so hard all year to stay in shape, and everybody thinks he's just a big old fat guy, and getting kind of his feathers ruffled about
What
it.
is it
It's kind
between
Why must they keep drawing me like that? I mean, does my butt really look that big to you?
B and A?
humorous. Yeah,
I like that.
fair.
Cool. Up to you.
Okay.
Your
Which
favorite.
is the night before, the three friends go on a wild Christmas Eve adventure in search of the ultimate holiday party. This is not my pick for this list, and it is not at all my humor or a movie that I happen to enjoy. This is Bobby's movie.
No, this became like from the time I saw it, I knew I was gonna watch it once, maybe twice every year. It's hilarious. Like like just like my kind of dumb comedy. Good actors. Who's I can't remember the other two guys' names. Yeah, I know you have Seth Rogen.
Is it Michael B. Jordan?
No.
Oh no, it's not. It's
I got it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, Jillian Bell, who's hilarious, Lizzie Kaplan, who's hilarious, Anthony Mackie, who's hilarious, Michael Shannon, Mindy
that's right.
Kaling. It's a who's who. Tracy Morgan. It's a who's lots of awesome comedians and comedic actors in it. It is hilarious. Every part of the movie I really like. So I will agree that it's not like a classic in like this Christmas Story or even an Elf or Home Alone sense of the word. But I think it is better than Die Hard and Four Christmases, which is probably where we're going to disagree, because you probably would like Four Christmases more than that. But I personally think it's a solid B.
I mean, objectively, okay, sure.
We shouldn't even need to pick more movies we didn't like. Poor Jim Carrey down there. But like, I would watch Four Christmases every year before I watched his version of The Grinch every year. Like, if
Yeah.
you watch the original version of The Grinch, the animated version, like, there would be no reason for you to watch the Jim Carrey version.
Yeah.
There's last one. Is it you or me?
It's you.
Oh. The Santa Claus, Tim Allen. Tim Allen becomes Santa Claus after an accidental fall, leading to a magical, hilarious journey of self-discovery. This was Tim Allen's first movie role after Home Improvement. Reindeer animatronics were groundbreaking. Oh, I like Tim Allen. Like, always have. Like, even his newer stuff. Like, what was that show called?
Last Man Standing.
Yeah,
I think.
good show. I like Tim Allen.
Humorous, yeah. It's
even
funny.
Home Improvement is like one of those shows you could put on if you're doing other things, and you can just stop and pay attention to it for 5 minutes and probably see something funny happening. Like, it's a solid, laugh track sitcom.
Yeah, it was one of the shows that we like as a family. We all sat down and watched together each week.
I mean,
when it was on the first time around.
Like, I could nitpick it. Like, I don't like how there was a trend there, and this, it's still kind of happening, but not as much as the 90s, of like the oafish, unintelligent like husband, and the wife has to come in and save the day all the time, which I'm sure happens a lot without getting too deep into it. But there was a big swing when it comes to entertainment of that style of dad that kind of drives me nuts. But that being said, it's still like a funny show if I can remove myself from that a little bit and just watch it and be like, okay, this is kind of mindless fun.
Yeah. Well, and it was balanced a little bit, I think, with the like him learning the lesson
Yeah.
each episode.
But that's the thing. That's kind of the trope, right? Like,
Yeah.
The Homer Simpson trope. I think The Simpsons are one of the most egregious. Like, watch the first 2 seasons of The Simpsons and look at how Homer was, and then watch as he just slid into like a walking, mindless zombie, essentially, halfway through the series.
Yeah.
But without going too deep into that, I like Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I like the Santa Claus.
Oh, I really like the Santa Claus too. I think it's lighthearted. Again, it's kind of charming, sweet,
Yeah.
funny. It's funny. You can get some, a few laugh out loud moments, but like one that Ava and I often will watch just about every Christmas time. So.
Where are you putting it?
I would put it probably. Objectively, probably A or B. I love it, but it's probably not the same level of. I feel like it's very similar to Elf and Home Alone, not quite to the, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas or Charlie Brown or Rudolph.
I like
level quite
between A and B.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah.
Like, better than the night before.
8.5.
Same with Christmas Chronicles. It's like
Yeah.
on par with Christmas Chronicles. I think
Yeah,
that's fair.
that seems fair.
Awesome. So let's recap real quick. S tier, we have A Christmas Story, Charlie Brown Christmas, The Grinch, Rudolph.
Classic Grinch and Rudolph.
Yeah, the classic Grinch. A tier, Elf, Home Alone, and Muppets Christmas Carol. Between A and B, because we couldn't make up our minds, Christmas Chronicles and The Santa Claus. B tier, Die Hard, Four Christmases, Night Before. C tier, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Solid C tier, Polar Express. D tier, Jim Carrey's version of The Grinch. I think that's a fair list.
I think so.
If you disagree, please let your opinion be heard in the comment section.
Or glaring, obvious Christmas classic movies that we just skipped entirely.
Yeah. And we're not going to see you before then because I don't think we're going to have a video out. So have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And try to get this out on Christmas Eve. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That's how you can help us out the most. Tell your friends about us. Share this video around, and catch you next time.
Interact with it.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. I'll see you guys
Leave
later.
those comments. Bye.